Amazing. Hi, I'm George, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to calculate pips. I know a lot of persons get to ask, how can we calculate pips when a trade is going? What amount should we know that this has reached? 10 pips, 2 pips, 5 pips, 8 pips, 20 pips, 100 pips, and the rest. And over time, if you've been following some of my trades or some of our trades or some of our leaders or students, you will not understand that there are some signals that will be sent, and the signals could be that, okay, the expected pips result here for this signal is 20 pips, 100 pips, 1000 pips. How do we calculate them? How do we know that? All right, now what we're going to do now is I'm going to share with you 3 ways you can calculate pips easily. All right, very easily, because the obvious traditional method is by counting it based on the whole numbers from the point. All those things could be sometimes complicating. Now we're going to be using this right here, trading view. All right, if you've not got your trading view, link is in the description box or anywhere, right, so that you can actually get it, download it. And I did a video, an extensive video on how to actually use it. All right, so we'll go right. All right, so let's say we want to check. Okay, now look at this. Let's say we want to check out trade. We're on Shiba Inu right now, for instance, and we want to just calculate the trade. All right, for now this is a trade that I just did. All right, let me change my layout. So this is a trade I just did. Let me expand it a little bit. A few hours ago. So here is the thing now. How can we calculate the amount of pips that was achieved on this trade? Now there are 3 ways. Now the first way we can actually use to calculate pips is by using what? The long and short. Now this is a trade, all right. Now this trade, if you look at it here, there is something called the stop loss, the PNL, and what the target. Now this was my entry, this was my stop loss. All right, so here's what I did here. Here's what you should look at here. If you look down here, you see what they wrote here. Target is the exact point expected for this price to be. Then you can see here percentage. Then you can see here 138. What do you see here? 1384. All right, 1384. Now this 1384 is the number of pips. All right, the number of pips, that is 1384 pips. That's it, 1384 pips. Then this here is the percentage. So if you are using 10x or a 10x leverage times 1.5, that is 10.50% profit made on this trade. So $100 gave what? $10. That was approximately $11 profit on this trade. And this trade did not do, at most this trade was like it was like, let's say, an hour. Yeah, it was an hour. Look at it here, it was an hour. Okay, 3 hours. So look at it here. The first method you can actually use is by using your short and long. How do I do? Let's say, for instance, we go over here. Let me bring out my star. So this is, let's say we're trying to go short, right? We'll just come over here. Let's say we're trying to go short from this point. All right, we put it here. Look at it here. We'll bring our position down. Then we'll set our stop loss here, for instance. Okay. Now, if you look at it here, if you are going up, you will notice that, look at the box. Look at beside this percentage is a number here. This is your pips. So if you take it up, it means 720 pips. If you take it down, it means 920 pips. If you take it a little bit more closely, 1230 pips. All right, as you can see it. Then if you reduce, all right, your stop loss, look at it here, 320 pips stop loss, 420 pips stop loss, and all and stuff like that. All right, so this you can see here is the number of pips. This the number beside the percentage. All right, is the number of what pips for this trade. All right, is the number of pips for this trade. Now the second method you can use to actually calculate pips in trade is by using what is called the price range. If you come over to your trading view, you will have something like this called what? Price range. When you bring it, you place it from your entry. Let's say this is your entry. You drag it down to this point. All right, to your take profit zone. As you can see here, at this point, our pips is what? Pips is, look at pips here. This number you can see here, the number after the percentage. So that is what? 1,302. Okay, you know, we didn't actually get to place it completely at our entry. Let's take it a little bit up to our entry. Yeah, so as you can see here, this one is reading what? 1,384 pips. Then price range 6 is also the same. All right, so this means on this trade we did what? 1,384 pips profit. Then on the using price range, which is the second method, it's the same thing. It's calculating it as what? 1,376 what pips profit. Now the third method, if you're not on trade, you don't have trading view, or you want to get it done very fast, now this is where you open a trade. Let's say you're on Binance or Bybit or MEXC or any exchange whatsoever. Now most times I always recommend going 5 to 10x leverage. Then on special or rare occasions, I go for 20x, 30x, 50x, 100x, and all. Now this is the thing here. If you want to calculate your pips based on percentage 10x, all right, this is the thing here. We have different methods for doing this. Okay, now look at these boxes. This is what I'm going to putting them down. Okay, so all right, because this is going to help a whole lot of persons when it comes to calculating the pips. All right, so now this is the thing here. We have 10 to 15%. When your trade does 10 to 15%, all right, just know that on 10x, let me even put it down so that it will be very clear. On 10x leverage. So now one secret, just like I've already mentioned for a lot of persons, is whenever you're placing a trade, most times, all right, when your trade just does 20 pips, it's always good to set it at break even, or you take partial profit. 20 pips, you can take partial profit. Now it's for every pips movement, 20, be taking partial profit. All right, so now look at it here. 10-15% trade on 10x leverage means you have done 20 pips on that trade. All right, when you do a trade and the profit is showing green, 10-15% means that what? You have done 10% profit. When it's 20 to 28%, all right, when it's 20 to 28%, it means what? 40 pips on that trade. Then when it is 30 to 37%, it means you have done what? 60 pips on that trade. Now when it's 40 to 48%, it means it's what? 78 pips. When it's 50 to 62%, it means what? 50 to 62%, 100 pips. So if now you see a trade, someone shows you, and the person did 100% on that trade. That means the person that is about 135 pips. So the person does 37%, or let's say 30%, 40%, 35, 36. The person has done 60 pips on that trade. If now let's say if someone shows you a P&L, a screenshot, and you see there 524%. Now 100 pips is approximately 135 pips, right? So if you do it 130 down and it's 500%, all right, which means 135 times 5. That's it. 135 times 5. Then you have it to be what, about let's say 500 and something percent, or 1000 and something percent, 1000 and something pips. So that's just the thing about calculating pips. If you're not using TradingView, or you're not using that's the long and short bar, and you're not using the price range bar, you can just use it based on this. 10x leverage is this way. Then 20x leverage, you have that 2 to 7%. 2 to 7% is 20 pips. The higher you go in leverage, the lesser the percentage in pips. All right. Then you now have 10 to 15%. All right, 10 to 15% is about 40 pips. So as you can see here, 10 to 15 in 10x is 20 pips, but in 20x, 10 to 15 is 40 pips, which means if now let's say I'm placing a trade, I'm using 10x, the other person is using 20x, and the trade on 10x I did 15%. So that is, it means what, that the person has done what on that 10x 20 pips profit, but you on 20x, you are gonna be what, at whatever the person on 10x is, and that is 40 pips profit. But now, as good as it is, with 20x you can make more profit, and when it goes against, you get to lose more. So this is how to actually calculate pips. The 3 ways to calculate pips. Number 1, just to recap, using the long and short bar. The second one again is using what, the price range bar. The third is by this simple mathematical method, which is 10-15%, 20 pips, and that's why always, to be on the safe side, the market doesn't belong to anyone. It depends on you, myself. For every 20 30 pips movement in price, I take partial profit. Then whenever it does, let's say 60 pips, if let's say I'm trying to place it, I'm on a trade, running a trade of for 150 pips, I just set it at break even when it hits 60 pips. All right. Now I also did a video on what smart traders are also doing to have their trade go to hit 1000% and all. If you've not watched it, it should be in the description box or anywhere around. All right. I hope to afterwards see you next time. I hope you got value from this. Smash the like button, share this video. If you got value from this, or if you have a question, drop it below. I'll do my best to answer it. Hmm.